Hello, welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, comment, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We would love to hear your ratings of the movies and shows we review.
Email us your audio file to recappingpodcast@gmail.com and we will play it during the show.
Or DM us on Instagram and we will post and read it on air.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you. Hey, Ashley.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
How are you doing today?
I'm a little tired. I had a little morning excursion. Had to get back out in that morning traffic, which I do not miss at all. Thank God for remote work. That's all I can say. Otherwise, I'm good. I'm here. We on the mic. We ready to go. How about you?
Same. A lot has happened in the last week, but I am blessed and highly favored, and I thank God for, just keeping us, busy, but all is well. Thank you for asking. All right, so 25. A lot has happened in the world, but I want to talk about a couple of things before we get into our quick headlines and hot topics. First, apparently our favorite streamer turned 25 years old the other day. Netflix.
Damn.
Exactly, right? So let's think about this, okay? 25 years ago.
Damn. Really?
Yes.
How has Netflix been around that long?
And the evolution is quite impressive. And I'm looking at, this is Ad Week. They're saying Netflix celebrates the fans' on 25th birthday. They went from DVD rentals, because what's a DVD now, right?
Mm-hmm.
To being one of the biggest in streaming. And honestly, we're seeing a little bit of the downfall or the shaking out of that particular environment, but 25 years, that's pretty impressive.
That seems unimaginable to me, because it just seems like Netflix has been such a disruptor to the industry that it doesn't seem like it's possibly been that long that it's been around. But I definitely remember those red envelopes. I definitely remember those days.
Same.
When their catalog of streaming was so limited.
Yes.
New releases, you had to do the DVD option, but it don't seem that long.
Remember the success of their first series, Orange is the New Black and House of Cards.
Right.
So
the OGs.
So I think it's worth highlighting. Also, 25 years ago, the world lost Princess Diana at the young age of 36 years old.
Now that feels accurate, right? That feels like it was 25 years ago. Maybe because we see the iterations of what has happened thereafter, and she has children that we can look to as they age,
Yes.
And their own families.
Absolutely. But I thought it was worth mentioning because you and I both love Princess Di. I mean, I think honestly, she's one of the first famous people I think I ever cried for, like after hearing news like this. I can't really recall a time before, because I was like 10 years old when she passed away.
And see, I didn't get obsessed with it until I became an adult and I got like more into the story behind everything. I remember how big of a deal it was just because of her stature. Yeah. And it didn't hit me until I got older, I guess, in terms of what it meant.
For me and my family, my mom, always a royal watcher. We watched her go on the continent, hugging children and walking through minefields, and her interactions with Mother Teresa. Like, she was a major impact for philanthropic work. And that's how we knew her growing up. And it was a tragic accident also, which is very...
I mean, I remember watching the unnerving news coverage. It just didn't, I didn't feel it yet. Yeah. I didn't feel it as a kid.
I get that. And the other time I got it, and this is why Harry will forever have a special part of my soul, is watching him walk behind his mother casket, and there was a letter that said "Mummy" on the floor arrangement. That'll stick to you.
Tragic.
And on this 25 tip, Leo's latest girlfriend is about to turn 25 and they broke up.
Oh my goodness.
Ashley, on Twitter, currently, there is a graph of Leo's relationship since Giselle. And the median age of his girlfriends is nowhere near 25. It's actually around 21, 22 years old. As soon as they turn 25, it's like, thank you, next, to quote the great Ariana Grande.
There was just a video that I saw of some guy talking about he's in his mid-30s essentially, but he only likes to date women between the ages of 21 and 25.
I saw that mess.
Yeah. And I was like, Leo, is that your doppelganger? Like, is this the reason? Because what did he say? They're moldable and they're, you know, they give you grace and all this. And I'm just like, you know, is this
so they don't put up with their bullshit? Got it.
Well, they do, right? Because they're still at
correct.
Correct. Sorry. And they're still at the age where it's like, oh, okay, you're just gonna damage them for the future when they get older. If that's the case, because you're just gonna put them through hell, essentially, because you expect them to put up with your mess. But I digress. I don't know if maybe Leo's still on his George Clooney timeline, but it's definitely been fascinating to watch over the years.
I was convinced that his Playboy antics was going to cost him an Oscar, but luckily being thrown around in the cold by a bear allowed him to finally.
Yeah, and see, he's a fantastic actor. So I didn't appreciate that. I felt like it was discrimination against him because he's pretty, you know, that kept him, in my opinion, from winning that Oscar.
But he came off as unserious because he can't seem to take anybody.
Are we really going to judge people's personal lives against their accomplishments?
Saying, I do believe there was some influence. Some. I didn't say all.
Well, I think it's a pretty bias too. I really do. I think for guys, I do. I think for guys, a little bit of a pretty bias. I mean, some people still think he's cute. I mean, he lost me a long time ago, but some people still think Leo's cute.
As soon as Jack fell in that water.
Listen. Rose lost him. We lost him too. Okay. Nah, I mean, I'll even still give him to like Catch Me If You Can era and stuff. He was still a cutie.
He was bae in The Man in the Iron Mask. That was.
And I'm sorry, I'm tripping. I would have even still been with Leo on
The Aviator?
Not The Aviator. Great Gatsby. He was beautiful in The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
He looked good.
I think Leo is like a Johnny, to where if they need to clean up, they'll clean up. You know what I mean?
Ooh, Johnny's murky waters. Johnny is murky waters. He's too eccentric for me. He always has been.
True.
That's what it is with him. Like Crybaby era, before I knew who that man was. Sure. But he comes across as so eccentric to me. I'm like, I don't know what would happen if I go to a room alone with you. So I'm good.
Well, I'm so off base, but Kate Winslet recently, for her Vogue outfits and review, she talked about a diamond necklace that she had around her neck and that she got it from Johnny and he gave it to her out of his butt crack.
What? Kate Winslet?
I'm sorry, Kate Moss. Sorry.
Okay, I'm like, Kate Winslet? Why? That's so random.
That's what I get. That's what I get for talking too fast. Yes, my mouth is moving faster than my brain. Kate Moss, 90s model it girl.
How strange.
So
how long did he have it up there, I wonder? So strange.
It's like, who thinks that's a great place to keep a gift? Oh man,
Yeah,
Okay.
No, thank you.
Quick headlines. Here we go. The VMAs was this weekend, Ashley. I'm looking at USA Today. It says brutally honest reviews of every MTV VMAs performance, including Nicki Minaj and Lizzo. So basically, in this article, it highlights all of the performances because let's keep it real. VMAs are notorious for the moments, and usually that's surrounded by performances, i.e., iconic Madonna voguing in Versailles, Beyonce's Bump. Let's not forget Britney Spears and that freaking snake. So during this awards, there were a lot of international acts, I have to say, and the Video Vanguard Award went to Nicki Minaj. As I mentioned, a lot of performances from everyone from Eminem to Snoop Dogg, Kane Brown, Blackpink. Mind you, one of my favorite tweets that were going around saying the only Blackpink I acknowledge is Pink in her first era. There you go. Look at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Just because I let you go.
When she was with Air stuff.
Yes, when she was taking notes from L.A. Reid. J Balvin performed, Bad Bunny performed. Everybody made a big deal about him kissing both his male and female dancers. Lizzo performed by herself. I don't know if you noticed that. And she did a pretty good job. And okay, Nicki Minaj with the Vanguard Award and Jack Harlow bringing out Fergalicious for his performance of First Class and Glamorous. Ashley, did you watch?
No, ma'am. I didn't even know these awards were happening. I only found out because I was scrolling on the Instagram and saw, I think it was Taylor Swift or somebody. I was like, oh, had no idea. That was tonight. There was a time when the VMAs were appointment television for me. I think that time has come and gone. So I caught some of the headlines.
Girl.
I saw some, the Lizzo speech, a little bit of the Nicki speech. Shout out to the homage to Whitney Houston. I caught things here and there. Taylor announcing her new album, Big Whoop.
Yes. Yep.
It's beyond me now. It doesn't excite me. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, in some of the awards, as you mentioned, Taylor was there. She's an OG now. You remember when she got her first one?
When she used to look like a lamb, a deer in headlights, or a lamb being led to slaughter with this wide-eyed, bushy tailed look every time she got on stage. Yes, I remember that era of Taylor Swift. Absolutely.
She won Video of the Year, All Too Well, the 10-minute version, which is quite good. Artist of the Year, Bad Bunny. Song of the Year, Billie Eilish, Happier Than Ever. New artist, Dove Cameron, who is Disney royalty. And yeah, a lot of hype around BTS, Blackpink, like I mentioned, Bad Bunny. So you can definitely see that it's a little bit more inclusive in terms of all the different acts. Were you surprised that Chloe Bailey didn't perform? I thought she would have at least performed this one. Maybe not.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on if she felt like there was something really important for her to hop on stage for. She looked great being in attendance, but maybe she just felt like, well, I'm in between singles. I'm not ready to do anything else just yet. So I'm gonna sit this one out. Maybe BET Awards.
Right. To your point, Ashley, I did not watch it. I knew it was happening because I saw a part of the red carpet because Lil Nas X showed up in a black version of what the Great Iman wore at this year's Met Gala. But even though you and I did not watch, it is up by 1%. Looking at Variety at their ratings than last year. So I guess it's not taken as bad as everybody anticipated, but let's keep it real. It is a shadow of what it used to be, in my personal opinion. It has nothing to do with us aging out of it. It has everything to do with like what it meant at the time that we grew up with this particular awards. Let's move on to, as I mentioned, one of the most iconic performances for VMAs, Britney Spears. She released a 22-minute voice memo talking about life during her conservatorship. This is pretty intense, Ashley. She talked about how she was given all types of offers to tell her story, and she didn't want to do it because she didn't want to do it for the money. And so she decided to put up a freaking audio recording like you and I, just talking freeform here. She goes in pretty hard on her family, particularly her mother. She talked about how she felt like she was just taken advantage of. She was 25 years old. She felt like she was super young. She also mentioned having to go to AA, but she wasn't an alcoholic. And she felt like all that what happened to her was premeditated. So yeah. Did you hear this recording, Ashley?
No, I did not get a chance to hear it before it was deleted, but I saw the clips that were posted by the Shade Room on Instagram, and then I read about it a little bit in an article. I can't remember by which publication. Wasn't anything new that I heard or saw in terms of revelations, but I guess one of the reasons I understand her point of wanting to, frame the narrative as she sees fit. But one of the reasons why I would actually love for her to do a sit down interview with like an Oprah or something, because just I need structure a little bit in terms of hearing her story, understanding it. And then I feel like there are things that are going to be pulled out of you that you may not just freely think about or come up with when you're just talking on your own, right? Like Oprah's going to ask you a question that is going to cause you to cry, cause you to reevaluate, cause you to, think some things through.
The most iconic question of all time is, were you silent or were you silenced? Sis, this is why she's Mother O. I agree. I didn't think there was anything in particular that was alarming, that was new outside of her being like every Black girl in America that deconditions her hair under her wigs. I was very surprised by that.
What? She said that?
She talked about how she was forced to perform in Vegas, how she didn't give her all, and she genuinely didn't care. And she's like, if you look close enough, I was wearing my wig, and underneath my wig, I was deep conditioning my hair.
Interesting.
Very.
Yeah. I mean, from what I saw over the years, you could tell that she was not all the way there a lot of times when she was on stage. So I definitely understood that. But again, I would love to hear some type of a sit down interview with somebody, so maybe she'll rethink that at some point, like come out with a book and then do an interview. But I can say her relationship with her mother does make me really sad. I don't know if that's strange to say, given I don't really know much about her mother, but it just feels like I could understand the sentiment against her father because he was the one who literally had the conservatorship. But it's like, I didn't used to ever hear anything about her mom. So now it's like,
it sounds like enabling behavior.
No,
though, so
I get it.
Exactly.
So it's like, now it's like, mama, guess what? You ain't shit either. And you honestly ain't shit even more so than dad. So like, it makes me sad. Like, to think that the whole, like, she's beefing with everybody. There's nobody that she feels like was ever in her corner.
They really did steal years of her life, and she was the one performing and paying for their lifestyle. Like, that is insane. She said that she didn't get a chance to live or benefit from the fruits of her freaking labor. So and the last thing I wanted to say is, I agree. This video recording was a little bit all over the place. And to your point, a trained interviewer would be able to, ask follow-up questions and get to the heart of the conversation. But I also understand why she didn't want to take the money, because literally everything about her life at this point has been about money. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's like, just F all of that. Like, I would rather do everything for free moving forward. So, which is so, so heartbreaking to like see this family completely broken apart because of greed. So, again, super excited that she is free. And I pray for her continued healing, because this is rough, Ashley.
Those fans must feel so good every time, because they really did go to bat for her for years.
They really did. They really did. Our final quick headline today comes from Yahoo Entertainment. Chris Rock blasted over disgusting joke making light of Nicole Brown Simpson's murder. Well, apparently, Chris Rock, in an interview, stated that he was asked to host the 2023 Oscar. So he basically said that he rejected the offer for him to host. And he was like, well, it'll be like Nicole Brown Simpson going back to the restaurant, which is a very pivotal point in the 1994 murder case against O.J. Simpson. Twitter was not having it. Actually, it was kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. Where they were like, and we see why Will Smith slapped you the first time. Bad, cruel humor. But actually, were you surprised that he would go this far? And then, do you feel like he's losing his cachet in this particular argument?
That's a good question. He might be, with some people who were strongly on his side in terms of the whole slap situation. But Chris Rock is still Chris Rock. Like, I don't know what people expected. To me, he's always had a more extreme, edgier humor. Like, he's one of the OGs of that era still of, getting your jokes off regardless. And I don't think that's going to change just after this one incident. So if y'all expected suddenly he was going to be a different person or a different type of comedian, I just saw him when he came to Orlando. He's still the same.
Yeah. I just felt like this was extreme. And we just had the conversation not too long ago about him and the definition of what really is a victim. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
he said that himself.
Exactly. Like, he technically is not a victim, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Compare yourself to someone who was murdered however many years ago. Gross.
It's definitely a tasteless joke. Definitely.
So had to bring that up because, as you know, that Slapgate is the hot topic that just won't go away, apparently.
I wonder how many white women deleted the tweets they put out there right after the slap. He ain't on y'all side. Okay. Sorry.
A mess. All right, let's go into our hot topics. The Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, in a new article with The Cut. We get a chance to have a sit down with her, which is pretty major considering outside of the Oprah interview, we hadn't really heard from her since. She talked about her living in her California home with her husband and 2 children. It talks about essentially the rollout of Archwell Productions, where she and her husband, Prince Harry, work together on their many deals. So they have deals with Netflix and Spotify and other endeavors. Also in this article, they talk about her brand new podcast, Archetypes. Ashley, did you see this article? Was it interesting to you? Did you have any particular takeaways?
I read it, and I guess I was trying to gauge a little bit from the writer whether they thought she was full of shit or not.
I felt that way too, Ashley, and I'm glad that you said that, because I was like, am I feeling shade here?
Little bit.
it was not as welcoming because we've read several profiles so far. We read Serena, we've talked about the one with Beyonce, all very, you could tell that the interviewer was extremely excited and honestly privileged to be in their presence, right? In the Beyonce article, the editor-in-chief sat down with Beyonce during Sunday dinner and listened to her music and just talked about how excited he was for her new music. In the Vogue article with Serena, I think it's told by Serena, so obviously she had more control over it, but still.
She also has a great relationship with Anna Wintour.
That too. It was like they were sizing her up.
One of the statements in the article was she as if she has a bachelor producer in her head telling her what to say. So you definitely got the sense a few times that she feels like Meghan Markle's a little bit full of shit.
What I found to be interesting too is they talked about how grand her house was and how, and this is a narrative that's been on Meghan Markle since her ascension to the royal family, that she's somehow some social climber. But one of the biggest stories is that Tyler Perry helped out Prince Harry and Meghan once they stepped down with security and a home. And we found out in this article that they didn't even know Tyler Perry.
That was fascinating.
And he also gifted them some big grand piano that's in their home as well. I'm sure they've met since then, and we have also spoken to Tyler Perry's generosity, through the years as well. Everything from Whitney Houston after her passing to, there was another event that, paying Cicely Tyson $1 million for less than a day's work, because that's how much he wanted to take care of her. So I'm so glad that you said that, Ashley. Let's switch gears a little bit. Part of this whole article is to promote the #1 Spotify podcast in the entire world, beating out freaking Joe Rogan, Archetypes. It now has 2 episodes. The first one talks about archetypes in ambition, and the second one, diva. Let's talk about the one with diva first, with Mariah Carey. Have you listened to any of them so far?
I've listened to the first episode with Serena. I have not gotten a chance to listen to the Mariah episode yet.
So the one with the Mariah was very interesting because we are talking about 2 biracial women talking to one another, and how Meghan Markle revered Mariah. She was a form of representation for Meghan Markle. It was fascinating because they also talked about hair, and somehow pink lotion came into the discussion. So I was like, what? Meghan Markle knows about pink lotion? But I mean, come
Black
on.
Mama.
Black Mama, exactly. Exactly. But let's go ahead and talk about the first episode with Ambition, where she sat down with her friend, the GOAT, Serena Williams. I thought it was an excellent discussion on women in society. I have seen some outlets that kind of talk bad about it, like, oh, well, women don't have that type of pressure. They only have that pressure when they're at, the stratosphere of Meghan Markle and Serena Williams. But I agreed on their conversation on like the pressures that women are faced, everyday women are faced with. Absolutely. When it comes to wanting more for themselves, for the career and or family, or however that is, mixed in together.
Absolutely. They were spot on with the conversation for sure. And even the idea that you get less ambitious, less vocal as you get older, because society tries to beat it out of you. Society tries to put you in your place when you're a woman. They invalidate your thoughts and ideas. They invalidate your desires to speak up, because it's like, well, there are reasons why you shouldn't. Your ideas aren't as important. Oh, you have to go out on maternity leave. You're no longer as valuable to us as an organization. They were spot on.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see the success of this particular podcast because I needed Joe to be dethroned, frankly.
I don't know if Joe's gonna stay out of that number one spot for very long, but I will say my favorite part of just diving into Archetypes, for one, production is beautiful.
Gorgeous,
The
right?
production, their voices just was like music. I was like, my God, this audio quality is insane.
Rich, rich. It's so funny. I was just having a conversation about benchmarking, and somebody was like, well, they have a lot of money. I mean, that's the whole point of benchmarking, so you know what you can aspire to.
Oh,
And when I
absolutely.
tell you,
It was beautiful. It was luscious. Like I was like, I almost don't want this to end. Your voice is like a melody right now in my ears.
I'm
But
like,
then
am I gonna have to drink lemon and honey before a podcast?
guys, we will continue only to get better. Okay.
Period.
Listen, budget or not. And the second thing was I love the nugget just to start with her little 11-year-old self writing letters for this commercial. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to tune in, is because I do want to know more about Meghan as a person and not this character or caricature that I feel like she is seen as a little bit because of everything that's kind of happened. I want to know more about who she is as a human being. So I found nuggets about her to be the most fascinating, because I get nuggets about Serena all the time. You know what I
All
mean?
the time. And one of the takeaways with her interview with Mariah that I absolutely adored is a quote that said, "My faith is greater than my fear." And I was like, whew, okay, let me write that one down.
I wonder what she would have done if she hadn't married Prince Harry. Like, was it inevitable that Meghan Markle was going to move into a different lane of her life and no longer be an actress as we knew her in like Suits and stuff? Because it seems like she had so many more like aspirations or
And
things she wanted
interest.
to get her hands in. So it just
Yeah.
makes me curious. Like, I know obviously that gave you a very powerful platform, but would she have still kind of gotten there anyway, one way or another,
I mean,
by
she did
endeavoring
speak.
into some other things?
She, as an actress, she had already done some humanitarian work and spoke at a freaking UN conference. So I think she actually wanted to be, I guess, a diplomat or something like that, but it didn't work out. And so she was from LA and like, let me do the town's business and acting. So I thought that was an interesting pivot. But yeah,
That was
that's a
more
great
shade in
point.
that article, by the way. They were like, yeah, she's a fine actress. Like, you are shady.
I thought it was just me because I was like, what are we doing here? And did she approve this? Is she allowed to like
There was
approve this?
definitely tone. There was definitely a tone. Surprisingly, too, because at some point in that article, the writer talks about how she started to feel protective, that there was the possibility of a negative spin being placed on her article because there's so many eyes on Meghan. And I'm like, well, you didn't really do a good job protecting her, in my opinion, if that was the case. But
Agreed. Agreed. Because it made it come off as a very, like indulgent house that's big and beautiful and wide and full of acres and all that. And I'm like, well, he is a prince. So
and that it could be that writer style. Like, I can't remember who the writer was. Maybe that's just kind of the voice that they like to use, being a little bit more like flippant or something. Because the writer does end saying something along the lines of like, I left with the feeling that maybe I didn't like really get what she was saying all along, something like that. So maybe that's the style that writer chooses. But I'd be curious how Meghan felt when she read it.
exactly. And what are your thoughts on her pictures for that cover
Oh, she
story?
was beautiful. The fresh face, minimal makeup, freckle
Yes, yes.
goddess.
Hair
She was
hair
luminous.
pulled back. The dress was very reminiscent of Michelle Obama in her portrait. It was giving me those vibes. And to your point, it gave me also ballerina vibes, very clean, very,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know,
to see that.
long limbs, especially for like the legs in some of the pictures. And yeah, it was good to see her. I'm surprised it wasn't Vogue, to be honest, but her friend Serena took that spot, which is our second and final hot topic of today. Ashley. Serena is playing right now as we speak, her second round.
I know, man.
Serena Williams, the GOAT.
Let me check the score.
Oh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. In a packed Arthur Ashe Stadium in her final major U.S. Open, she won Monday night. And boy, oh boy, was that triumphant. It was in front of a star-studded audience. We had President Clinton sitting next to sex therapist Dr. Ruth, which was like, sir, I need for you to have some self-awareness here. Hugh Jackman was there with his wife, Spike Lee, Queen Latifah, Gladys Knight, Gayle King, Mike Tyson. But let's talk about Olympia in her beads, Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Taking
homage.
Taking a picture of her mom in that camera. And when ESPN did the side-by-side with her father from back in 1997 to Olympia today, tears. I was not okay.
Aww.
I was not okay because after the match, Gayle King did some type of interview thing with her, and I really appreciated how the US Open celebrated her with the We Love Serena. But Gayle King also introduced a video narrated by Oprah, and tears.
I saw Oprah's post too.
That's
Instagram.
That's what they showed after the game or after the match. And just to know, like, we had the privilege to be there from the beginning.
Yeah.
She has performed. She has played at this major in her teens, her 20s, and her 30s. Ashley.
I can't imagine what she must be feeling and going through, as she talked about in the interview with Meghan. Just, this is what she's been doing her whole life. She won her first Grand Slam when she was graduating high school. Like, who does that?
1998.
She's going through a very big change. She's going through a pivotal change right now in her life. So I can only imagine as a human being what she must be feeling. But can I tell you how superstitious I am? So I didn't start watching at the start of the match, right? So by the time I started watching the match, she was probably halfway through the first set and she was up. And then when I started watching it, she double faulted, or at least faulted enough to give to take away her advantage. And I said, nope, I got to cut this off.
I'm the same way.
Well before I started watching, so she's going to continue to do well once I cut this off.
That's why I don't want you to tell me the score right now, because I started watching it and then I saw the score and I walked away and I'm like, I don't need to know what else is going on. David was like, I've never heard you hoop and holler over a tennis match like this before. I was like, first of all, I have, but when it usually comes down to the finals, my anxiety is so high, I don't say anything. Damn thing. I'm on the edge of my freaking seat.
I would love to check my blood pressure during some high stakes sports moments in life. It has to be through the roof on occasion.
Yo, the only time I've ever gotten this way, well, it's not only, anytime Dominique Dawes, Simone Biles, Michelle Kwan, when she used to skate, I could not breathe. I remember when she fell, when she won the bronze that year. When she fell, I realized that was the first time I breathed because I was holding my breath the whole time. Michelle Kwan, love you.
Taking it back to Michelle.
Y'all don't even know. Man. All right. So you said you only saw part of the match, but this is such a momentous occasion. Gatorade had Beyonce narrating a commercial for them. ESPN, record-breaking ratings for night one.
As it should be. She is a legendary sports figure who is about to retire. I would expect nothing less. Tiger Woods is in the audience tonight.
Currently, Spike Lee there again. Grandma, Auntie Dionne Warwick is there. Anthony Anderson is there. So I am just And then what's also quite funny as a fan watching is I feel sorry for her opponents because the way the audience is not on their side.
But so I'm glad you said that, because in my heart, I feel like they should have made a pact that we're going to lose intentionally to
Serena
let this woman.
It.
I know she wouldn't take it. I know she wouldn't, but we ain't got to tell Serena. The point is, we gonna lose. If I even think I'm about to win, I'ma lose, because that's just not how this is about to go down for her last tournament. Like, no, I'm gonna need all of y'all to sprain an ankle, do whatever you gotta do.
It's the details for me, Ashley. The fact that she has her big hair with those diamond sparkles in it, which is like a callback again to the iconic beads. It's just too much. And I just feel so privileged to just be alive during this time because it's just so legendary. Like, where were you? I know exactly where I was growing up watching Venus and Serena perform. I remember when she switched from Puma to Nike. Like, I remember because she was the underdog. She was Venus Williams, world number one, she had won Wimbledon and all that, which is major. She was Venus Williams' little sister, right? So iconic. I love all the love that she's getting. I hope that she's able to receive it.
Yeah.
Process it.
Yeah, it's gonna take time. I mean, this is all she's ever known her entire life. She's been playing tennis, trying to get to that peak level. She accomplished it. She took her career to heights unimaginable. And it's always tricky, I imagine, as a professional athlete, once you reach that point where it's time to pivot away and you still have so much runway ahead of you. Like, I'm sure this is a moment that, you wish there was a Kobe around to have offered an ear and some guidance about transitioning to that next phase of your life
too, because seeing Tiger in the audience and things like that. She's a rare air. So
it was interesting though, she said that she talked to Harry about it too, and I'm like, so you just called up Prince Harry like, yo, I'm thinking about retiring, what you think? Like, to be in these inner circles has to be fascinating.
Yes. Oh, and let's not forget the Williams sisters are playing doubles and their record is impeccable. Like, can you imagine? There was a time when one of the sisters was number one in the world and the other was number two, and they were each other's practice buddies. Can you imagine?
I cannot foresee that happening again, probably in our lifetimes, but it was a hell of a ride, Delora.
Absolutely.
Hell of a ride.
If there's nothing else, Ashley, what are we recapping next week?
All right, so I'm bringing it back to one of my previous hidden gems, another Jenny Han vehicle, because we did do the To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy.
To All the Boys I Loved Before.
So if you have not listened to that recap, please do. But this is The Summer I Turned Pretty. It is on Amazon Prime, 7 episodes. Check it out.
Can't wait.
All right, guys, that's all we got for you this week, this episode. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend, whatever they decide to get into. If anybody's barbecuing, call me.
Bye.